They're not like, I don't know what to do with this knife, and trembling and being insecure while they're operating. No, they get it done. Why? Because they know their craft.
Almost 10 million subscribers. Devoted following of young women across the world. And most of the people think that they know exactly why. Oh, this is just because of her looks. Because she looks gorgeous, she looks elegant. Listen guys, there are lots of other beautiful women out there, but only so few of them has such a large following. Because looks do not build 10 million subscribers. Psychology does. And that's why today we're going to find out two things. First, how the Wizard Liz actually influences people. So she was able to build such a huge following and became one of the most popular creators in the self-improvement niche. And the second thing, what she specifically does in her videos that makes her vulnerable to criticism from the science perspective.
Advice is full of contradictions. I want to say full, I mean it. Full.
And if you're new to the channel, then welcome. My name is Nikita, and welcome to the Influence Lab, the place where we review politicians, celebrities, influencers, entrepreneurs, and how they influence people. Now, without further ado, let's roll. And before we dive into the video, let's review the macro structure of this specific situation so we will actually understand what's going on. So first of all, let's start with the speaker. Who is she? This is the Wizard Liz, right? So she's an online influencer. She has like a lot of subscribers, a lot of followers on different social media platforms, but that's basically it, okay? She doesn't really have a lot of credentials. So when people will be watching her videos, okay, she will not be stating that, oh, you know, she's a, I don't know, this specific professional or something else, right? So no, so she's just an online influencer. Then the second thing, who is the audience of her channel, of her content? Is women. I would say that they are from 16, something around 25 years old for sure, 30 years old, not really so sure, but some of them definitely can be. Knowledge about the topic that she will be talking about is pretty low, and motivation to watch the videos like that is also low. Well, you can ask me, okay, well, why their motivation to watch this sort of video is low if the video got 10 million views? Well, the answer to that is pretty simple. It's because of the context of the situation. This is a YouTube video. On YouTube, right, so this is a modern way to influence people, right? Social media influence. And when we're talking about YouTube and other social media platform, motivation to watch videos like this, if we compare the video like this to public speeches or, you know, some sort of a presentation, right, is very, very low. Why? Because when people come to the offline event, they're motivated to pay attention, right? But here, if they're not really interested in the topic or something get complicated, they just go turn it off, right? And they just go and watch something else, right? So that's why the motivation to watch the video is very low. When we're talking about social media influence, we always need to keep that in mind, okay? That people can instantly just click off and watch something else, right? So if you want to influence people, in this case, like it's very, very important to keep them engaged, right? Top of the videos, educational video, and the subject will be how to be more confident, right? As you can see here, this video will make you confident, okay? Just like what internet loves. And what is the goal of the video? When we're talking about social media influence, there are basically two goals. First of all is the goal of a specific video, and basically it will be educate people and maybe a little bit to motivate them to take action. And overall goal of this is to grow the personal brand, right? Grow the personal brand, become more popular, so you can sell more stuff in the future. Now, we figured these things out, right? We're ready to dive into the video because we understand the context of what will be going on. So, with this being said, let's go. Ho-ho! Headphones ready. Let's roll.
So people always come to me, they're like, Liz, I'm not confident, I don't feel confident in who I am, whatever. Why should you be confident? No, tell me, why should you be confident? How does your...
It's been 15 seconds, okay, but she does here a lot. Okay, so let's break it down everything step by step. First of all, I want to say, let's take a look at everything, how everything looks. As you can see here, by everything, how everything is organized in the background. This is supposed to be a very, very intimate conversation, right? Like she's not really in a professional studio, she's just in her room. But at the same time, you can actually see that, you know, it looks like this is just in her room, but she also has these, you know, like lights. It's just, she specifically turned it on, right? This light, and there is like light that she put specifically there. And there's also light behind her, see? Also lights her. So this is like a professional lighting basically, right? She put it there specifically, but at the same time, because how everything looks, it actually looks like this is an intimate conversation and she just films in her room. She really breaks the pattern, right? And says, hey, so why should you be confident? So And at the same time, she's, looking at the camera lens, right? So she creates this feeling that this will be a one-on-one conversation with you and her. So this is really like orchestrated, but at the same time, it has like this feeling, okay, that she doesn't really position herself as an expert in something, but this is really more like a friend, okay, or how people like to say this is a older sister. Okay, so let's watch everything, okay, one by one. Okay, so let's start with the hook. Okay, at this point, people are deciding if I want to watch the video or not, right? And if they don't really like it, they just click off and watch something else. So let's take a look how she hooks the viewer right from the start.
So people always come to me, they're like, Liz, I'm not confident, I don't feel confident in who I am, whatever.
So this is basically common pain point. How she hooks the viewer in this case is that she finds the common pain point of her audience is that, oh, people are not confident. And then she says, hey, while people come to me and ask me this question, well, it doesn't really matter if people actually ask her this question in real life or not. Okay, but basically, as a viewer, I'm watching this video, I'm like, oh yeah, this is about me. Right, I'm not confident, so this is relevant.
Why should you be confident? Of course you're not confident. You haven't developed anything. You don't even know yourself. How can you be confident in something if you don't know what it is?
Very important, obviously, I want to emphasize here her. In a videos like this, in an educational video, very important that the person who's teaching something needs to be congruent, okay? So what does this mean? Imagine that if the person tries to teach you business, this person needs to have some sort of a successful business. If the person teaches you how to be financially wealthy, this person has to have some money in his bank account. If the person teaches you fitness, needs to be jacked. And if the person teaches how to be successful, specifically for women, right? How to be in this, this sort of girl that everyone, that what everyone wants, right? Like people want to be friends. There are lots of people who want to date her. You need to be an embodiment of that, basically. And, well, obviously the first thing that people pay attention to is her looks, right? In this case, see, like, looks here is powerful, not only because she's just good looking, but because this represents of what she's trying to teach. So this is the way how she influences people, how she establishes credibility. Because remember, I told you at the beginning that she is just an online influencer. She has no credentials, right? She's not a psychologist or something. And basically all she does, her advice is based on this, is that, oh, I'm credible because look at me, I'm great. Okay. And this works. You can see here, she has like 9 million subscribers.
No, tell me, why should you be confident? How does your life look?
I want to say that also here, she looks at the viewer, right? And catches attention very, very well, that you're watching and you have this feeling like she talks directly to you. Okay.
Because most of you guys do not care about the things you eat. You guys watch reality shows for fun. You guys never read a book. You guys have no skills. Never leave your house. Never do anything to get yourself uncomfortable. And then you want to complain about, oh, I'm not confident.
Here's a very important thing, okay, is that here, what she does is that very provocative, but at the same time, it's a double-edged sword. Because at the beginning, what you want to do is that you want to establish two things to the speaker. You want to establish that you're credible, and as we discussed, she already has done that, right? So competent, and also you want to establish goodwill, okay, that you really want good for the people that you're talking to. She has a competence, right? She has shown it already, but she lacks warmth. So why is this double-edged sword? Because in one way, it's very provocative. It makes people emotionally hooked and they want to watch the video. But the second time is that she can be criticized for being cold or being arrogant. And this happens because she shows that she's competent but not warm.
If you look at footballers, they are so confident in how they play and whatever they do. Why? Because they show up every day. They train and they know that what they're doing is the best that they can because they have trained their whole life where they have developed this whole skill. These people have discipline.
I love that, okay? I love that. Is that what she's very, very emotional in her delivery. And this is great, okay? Because it's not only about what you say, and not only about who you are, but also about how you say it. And one of the things that you can do is actually to make your speech more influential is to be emotionally connected and care what you're talking about. And we can actually see it here, how she is emotionally invested into giving this advice. And this is really great.
These people do not think about, I feel like it or I don't feel like it. No, how you feel does not make you become a whole professional footballer, does not make you become an athlete, does not make you become a successful business manager, whatever. You want to be confident, your feelings should be off.
Again, very, very, very emotional delivery. Very interesting thing also here to point out is that, as you can see here, the video is 33 minutes long, and she doesn't really do any video editing. So she needs to hook the viewer and capture attention for some time. And that's why her delivery should actually be very, very emotional.
I do things without thinking about them now. I wake up in the morning, it's automatic. I go to yoga, I go to the gym, that's it. Afterwards, I feel amazing because I push myself to do things. I push myself.
So what she does here is that she uses a personal story, okay, so to illustrate things, right? So she makes a point, and then after that, she tries to explain it. And remember, we were talking about the motivation of the audience, right? So motivation of the audience to watch something is low, and that's why you need to provide some sort of an evidence. You know, when you're explaining things, it needs to be something like entertaining and something that people don't really have to think hard. And stories is actually one of the best way to do that. Now we're getting a little bit of the logical structure of what she'll be talking about. And actually what you will see right now, what she does, she will be explaining her point using a PSB formula. Okay, so PSB formula, it's actually a very, 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 very popular formula. Okay, PSB stands for problem. Okay, problem. Then after that, solution. And after that, benefit. Very, very popular formula in McKinsey. By the way, they use this structure, okay, in their presentation, that they say the problem, what is the solution to the problem, and after that, what's the benefit of the solution. And it's very interesting enough that actually Wizard Liz uses the same structure, problem, solution, benefit, when she makes her explanation in the video. Let's watch that.
Used to it. So what your body does is it tries to protect you. Because now it's in fear mode. It's like, oh, I don't know this. This is uncomfortable.
Problem.
I should protect you because this must be bad if it's uncomfortable. That's why instead of shocking yourself into something, do small things, but do them consistently.
Solution.
Start going to the gym 2 days a week. Then you do 3 days, then 4 days. Go for 10 minutes, go for 15 minutes. Little by little, but make sure your body gets used to it, because once your body is used to it,
benefit.
Your body can recognize it as something good, as something comfortable.
See, problem, solution, benefit. Very, very simple structure, but also very, very effective.
If you look at doctors, if you look at physicians, if like, they're not like, I don't know what to do with this knife, and trembling and being insecure while they're operating. No, they get it done. Why? Because they know their craft, okay?
See, they get it done. You know why? Because they know that, again, very, very great delivery, right? Emotional, connect, attached, really wants to share this information. Yeah, this looks like really her delivery is on point here. I love it. I love it.
In yourself, because you push yourself. You do uncomfortable things until they get comfortable. I grew up with extreme fear of heights.
Here's another problem that I see actually during the whole speech is the problem of structure is that, as you can see here now, as you saw here now, is that she just talks, then it just stops, and then she starts talking about something else, right? So usually in speech writing, what we have is that, right, and you can think, well, this is not a speech, this is a YouTube video. But think about it that this is basically a speech because she speaks to the target audience, right? But just in front of a camera. So usually when we're talking about speech writing, is that you have some sort of a blocks that you want to talk about, right? So this is advice number 1, this is advice number 2, this is advice number 3. And in these speeches is that you need to have smooth transition between one part to another. And the problem here is that she doesn't really have these smooth transitions. She cuts that, right? She just suddenly stops and then she starts talking about another bullet point. Again, this is what actually can be a little bit improved.
I grew up with extreme fear of heights. Like, I was so scared of heights. If when I was younger, if I would stand on a staircase and you could see through it, I would not stand on it. I would literally, my feet would be trembling, scared of heights.
What she does here is that she also uses storytelling, right? And also she shows vulnerability. What you want to do when you're very, very, look very, very successful, you also want to show that you're vulnerable. Because people will see that you're more human, okay? That you're a real human and they can connect with you.
It's not that big of a deal. You can just go up to people and have conversation because it's beautiful. If you own a business or anything in life, just
Very interesting thing that I noticed is that because her speech, right, is not really that scripted, she usually tends to somehow to go a little bit away from the topic. So as you can see here, the topic of the video is that this video will make you confident, right? So you just need to think about this, to have this idea in mind when you're talking about it, because that's actually why people came to watch this video, right? And as you can see here, is that now she starts talking about be open to talk to strangers network. But that's not really the point of the video, okay? Well, if you watch the whole video, you will see it, is that she just starts talking, then she got like another idea in her head, and then she just starts talking about something, you know, that is not really relevant to the video. So let's watch that part.
Someone else, and that's it. You have a whole new career. You know, things happen like that. Sometimes even I believe that God sends you certain people to teach you something, right? So if you really listen to people when they come up to you, when you talk to them, or you go up to them, that can be a message, that can be a signal for you.
We watched the most important information out there. Basically, you know, the same thing that I just said happens throughout the whole video, right? But the main ideas are, you know, already discussed. So look, if we're talking about her ethos, so ethos is her like the person, right? In terms of what's good or not, it's like 50-50, right? So she has competence. In this particular video, she lacks warmth. However, if you take a look at her other videos, she's actually tend to be warmer with her audience, okay? So, but that's fine. If we're talking about emotions, right? So the delivery of what she's saying, it's great, okay? I really loved it. How she delivers it, like very passionate, very emotional, hand gestures to make it more interesting to watch, eye contact with people. This is great, okay? I love it. Now, when we're talking about the logos, okay, logos is the logical structure, okay, logical structure of the speech. It's actually, in my opinion, is the weakest part. Because if we take a look at her arguments, like the quality of her arguments, it's always the same, okay? Is that she makes some sort of a statement.
Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. Okay.
And then after that, she gives some sort of an explanation. And her explanations are usually like these four things. Is that it's either her story, right? So how she did something, or how she, like the problem that she had or whatever. Then it's example.
Look at doctors. If you look at physicians, if like, they're not like, I don't know what to do with this knife.
Then there is like some popular nonfiction book.
What do I mean by this? So recently I have read this book. It's called The Mountain Is You. It's an amazing book. I would recommend it to everyone. In this book, the author goes on to describe that we as humans were not wired for happiness.
Popular, I mean like, you know, for the masses, right? So not really rigid psychological literature, not academic literature, right? Just some popular book. And advice that she heard somewhere on the internet, right? Like she watched the video on YouTube or something like that. And now we can see that, you know, support for her statements is actually very low. But why then she has almost 10 million subscribers, and why does she have 10 million views under this video? Well, the reason is very simple actually. It's because motivation to watch is low and knowledge about the topic is low. So what I mean by that, you can analyze the quality of the advice only if you know the right information. Think about it this way, okay? Look, I have here toothpaste, okay? So this is the toothpaste. And you don't really know the quality of this toothpaste. This is chemistry. I don't know actually if this toothpaste are good or not. If you show me another toothpaste, I don't really know which one is really better. So that's why when we don't really understand the subject, we're trying to understand if it's legit or not by peripheral cues. So basically in this case is by design, how it looks, maybe we will read some reviews online if people recommend it or not. And the same thing here is that people don't really know if her advice is correct or not. And some advice is definitely good, some advice is definitely correct. But when she shares information that is not correct, or maybe just worked only for her, people don't really know that. But because she established credibility with how she looks, and she's very confident, and she gives advice, and she also has a social proof that 9 million people subscribe to her, is that people automatically starts believing in what she's saying. And because of that, we can actually make a very interesting conclusion. That on the internet, where people don't really know what you're talking about, and their motivation to figure this out is pretty low, who you are and how you're delivering information is more important than the information itself. And on this note, this is it. We discussed the first online influencer that we reviewed on this channel. Let me know what you think. If you have other ideas that you want me, other people that you want me to watch and analyze, let me know in the comments. And if you want to watch other videos, feel free to do this right here. My name is Nikita. It was Influence Lab, and I'll see you next time.